What's good, chat? Something is changing with GTA 6 right now. And no, I'm not talking about some random fake leak, not another blurry screenshot, not one of those "my source says trailer 3's tomorrow" posts that disappear the second nothing happens. I'm talking about the actual conversation around GTA 6 finally starting to shift. Because for the longest time, the entire community has basically been trapped in the same loop, waiting for trailer 3, waiting for pre-orders, waiting for Rockstar to break the silence, and trying to decode every tiny clip and corporate comment like it's a secret message. But now, we're at a point where the question is not just, when do we hear something? The bigger question is, what phase of the GTA 6 rollout are we actually entering? Because there's a real difference between hype and marketing. Hype is what we've had for months. Fans talking every day, creators posting theories, people dissecting trailer frames, everybody debating release timing, map details, additions, and everything else. That's passive momentum. But active marketing? That's a different beast. That's Rockstar stepping in directly. New trailers, official promo, ads, pre-orders, media push. The kind of coordinated rollout that tells you this game is no longer just sitting in the distance. It's entering the next real stage. And the reason this matters so much is because once people started hearing that GTA 6's real push is expected to ramp up in summer, everything immediately turned into one giant debate. Because saying summer sounds clear, until you realize it really isn't. Some people hear summer and think, late June, early July, we're close. Other people hear summer and think, nope, peak summer, maybe later than fans want, maybe July into August. And that difference changes everything. Because if the next real phase starts sooner, then trailer 3 could be right around the corner. But if Rockstar's playing this much later, then a lot of people may still be underestimating how long this wait could feel. And that's where the whole conversation gets really interesting. Because once you move past the headline, the next question is the one everybody actually cares about. When does trailer 3 fit into all of this? This is where the fanbase starts splitting into camps. One side looks at the situation and says, if the GTA 6 rollout is entering its summer phase, then the next logical step should be obvious. Trailer 3, pre-orders, a stronger official push, maybe the beginning of that final road to launch. And that's not unreasonable, because once a game this massive enters a serious marketing phase, people naturally expect visible movement. But the second side of the debate says, hold on, you might be assuming too much from one word. Because what exactly counts as marketing here? That is the entire argument. Does trailer 3 count as marketing? Most people would instantly say yes, but there's another view that says maybe when Take-Two talks about marketing, they're specifically talking about the paid campaign. Billboards, TV spots, sponsored placements, big ad spend across platforms, the official budget-heavy rollout. And if that's what they mean, then trailer 3 might not actually be the same thing in that context. In other words, the trailer could arrive before the full paid campaign starts. That idea matters a lot because it completely changes how people read the timeline. If you think trailer 3 is part of the paid marketing wave, then summer might mean waiting longer. But if you think trailer 3 is the spark that begins the public push, then something earlier starts to feel way more believable. And that, right there, is why the community keeps running in circles. Because people are not just arguing about dates, they're arguing about what Rockstar and Take-Two even mean when they talk about promotion. Same word, different interpretations, completely different expectations. And honestly, that's the most GTA 6 thing ever. Because Rockstar says very little, so every single phrase gets dissected to death. But to be fair, with a release this big, that kind of obsession makes sense. We're way past the stage where GTA 6 is just this mysterious future project. At this point, people are trying to map the final road to launch. So when there's even a hint that the game is moving from passive hype into active promotion, that instantly becomes the center of the conversation.
How do you know it's going to be ready that day?
Well, because we actually obviously track the progress daily of everything that we do. And we also announce that we have marketing beats coming this summer, and we don't spend money on marketing until we're pretty close to release.
That one line is enough to set the tone. Because once you hear that, you immediately understand why fans are now locked in on one thing. If summer is the real beginning, then where exactly does trailer 3 land? And that's where this whole debate really explodes.
Okay.
Now this is the part everybody actually cares about. Because once people started reading GTA 6 as entering its next promotional stage, the obvious question became, does that mean trailer 3 is about to show up, or does it actually mean Rockstar is still holding its cards for later? And right here, the fan base completely divides. One side believes Trailer 3 could land sooner than people think. The other side believes Rockstar may hold it until actual summer is fully underway, maybe July, maybe even closer to the next big investor-facing window. And that's a huge difference, because if the trailer lands sooner, then GTA 6 starts to feel immediate, like the machine is finally turning on. But if Rockstar waits until later, that means the silence is not over yet. It's just entering a more strategic phase. Now, the smartest way to talk about this is with one very important rule. A prediction is not the same as a confirmation. And that line matters a lot here, because one of the biggest problems in the GTA 6 community is how fast opinions get upgraded into facts. Somebody credible says, here's what I think happens, and then social media translates that into insider confirms trailer date. That is how misinformation takes off. So, let's separate the logic from the hype. The argument for a later trailer is actually pretty simple. If Rockstar wants Trailer 3 to be part of the full summer campaign, then they may time it around a major strategic window. That could mean a point where the trailer, pre-orders, paid ads, press coverage, and investor attention all hit in a tighter package. From a business perspective, that makes a lot of sense. A huge trailer right before an important company moment creates momentum. It creates headlines. It creates engagement. It gives the company something powerful to point to while the whole industry is watching. So, the later trailer theory is not random. There is actual strategy behind it.
I'm still sticking to my guns from what we said a few weeks ago, is that I don't think they're going to release the next trailer, until actual summer, which would be, August?
That clip works because it gives the audience the late trailer logic, directly. And once that's on screen, you come back in with the pushback. But here's the problem. A lot of fans hear that idea and instantly say, that's too late. Because if GTA 6 is targeting a November launch window, then waiting deep into summer for Trailer 3 feels extremely tight to a lot of people. That would mean Rockstar still has to fit a lot into the months after that. Pre-orders, additional reveals, maybe more detailed promotional material, possibly gameplay-focused marketing, press coverage, general momentum into release. And for a lot of fans, August just sounds too compressed. That's where the early trailer argument comes in. The logic there is that Trailer 3 might actually arrive before the full paid campaign kicks off. Not because Rockstar is rushing, but because they need the trailer to start the wave. That theory says paid marketing needs assets. It needs visuals. It needs something fresh for people to react to. And what better way to set that up than with a new trailer? So in that view, Trailer 3 is not the marketing campaign itself. It's the fuse. And honestly, that is a pretty strong argument too, because Rockstar is not going to want the pre-order moment to hit properly with nothing new for fans to grab onto. They need the hype object. They need the footage. They need the moment. That's why the debate is so good, because both sides actually have logic. One side says Trailer 3 kicks everything off. The other side says Trailer 3 is part of a larger coordinated push later in the cycle. And until Rockstar speaks, both readings stay alive. Now, there's even another smaller theory floating around, that maybe Rockstar skips a traditional Trailer 3 setup and moves more directly toward a gameplay-style reveal later. Possible? Sure. But based on everything surrounding this discussion, that feels like the weaker angle. Because if Rockstar wants the pre-order moment to hit properly, it makes a lot more sense to attach it to a major reveal. Not just a store link, not just a random announcement, something bigger, something that feels like the game has become real again. So the cleanest way to understand this section is there is a real split between people who think the trailer comes before the broader paid push and people who think the trailer is being saved for the heart of that push. That's the fight. Not who has magical secret truth, but who is reading Rockstar's strategy better. And that framing is way more interesting anyway, because now the audience is not just waiting for a date, they're choosing which logic they trust more. But I want y'all to note this. This is just his opinion. It is not a fact. Now that line is important because it keeps the whole section grounded, because with GTA 6, confidence spreads faster than reality. And that's exactly why this next part matters so much, because once you stop guessing and look at what Strauss Zelnick is actually saying publicly, you start getting a much clearer picture of how Take-Two sees GTA 6 as a product, as a release, and as a full-blown event. Now this is where things get interesting in a different way, because Strauss Zelnick is not going to come out and spoil GTA 6. He's not going to start giving away trailer plans. He's not going to casually reveal Rockstar's roadmap. That's not how he operates. So, when Strauss talks, the value usually isn't in some giant direct reveal. It's in what his wording tells you about how Take-Two sees the game. And one of the clearest things to come out of that is this. GTA 6 is being treated like way more than just another game release. You can hear it in the way people react to it. You can hear it in the way the conversation around it keeps growing. And you can definitely hear it in the way the industry itself keeps circling back to it.
I said to them that I've got Strauss coming on, and I asked, do you have any questions for him? Do you want anything to ask him? Every single one of them was about GTA 6.
Well, we're certainly grateful for the attention.
That moment might sound small, but it says a lot, because it shows that this isn't just fans obsessing online. The entire industry is locked in too. Media, analysts, other executives, creators, investors, casual players, hardcore players. Everybody wants to know the same thing. What happens next with GTA 6? And that kind of attention changes the whole rollout, because Rockstar is not handling this like a normal launch. They can't. This is the kind of release where every move becomes a global discussion instantly. And that connects directly to another really important point Strauss makes. The audience for GTA 6 didn't disappear just because time passed. In fact, his argument is basically the opposite. A lot of people who loved GTA years ago will still love games now. Maybe they're older. Maybe life looks different now. Maybe they don't have the same amount of time that they used to, but that doesn't mean they've aged out. And that's a huge deal for a game like GTA 6, because think about how big this audience is. People who played GTA 4, people who lived on GTA 5, people who grew up hearing about Rockstar games, newer players who only know GTA as this giant cultural event, younger players who want in, older players who never left. Take-Two is not just looking at one demographic here, they're looking at multiple generations at once.
And their time pressure is different.
Well, I think we're going to have a lot of 17-year-olds playing GTA 6.
Well, yes, indeed.
I think we'll be able to engage every appropriate individual in GTA 6. By the way, if you have a console and you're over 17, just explain to me, how is it that you've decided, no, GTA 6, not interested. I just don't see it.
That clip is one of the best in this whole discussion because it explains a lot. It explains why Rockstar doesn't seem panicked. It explains why Take-Two sounds so confident about the size of the opportunity. And it explains why the company can afford to be strategic instead of noisy. A smaller publisher might need constant reassurance, frequent updates, a constant drip feed just to stay relevant. Rockstar doesn't, because GTA 6 already lives in people's heads. The older audience is still here. The younger audience already wants in. The industry is watching. The market is watching. So from Take-Two's perspective, silence is not always a weakness. Sometimes it's leverage. They know that the moment they finally say something meaningful, the entire gaming world stops to listen. And that's exactly why even a few Strauss comments can send the whole community into theory mode. Not because he's spelling everything out, but because with a game this massive, even tiny signals matter. But Strauss didn't just talk about the audience, he also touched something else fans care a lot about, the premium side of GTA 6, price, advertising, and what kind of experience this game is supposed to feel like.
Wow, incredible!
Now this next part gets way more practical, because for all the hype around trailers and release windows, there are still a couple huge questions hanging over GTA 6. How much is this game gonna cost? And if people are paying top dollar for it, what kind of experience are they getting in return? That's where the advertising discussion becomes really interesting. When Strauss talks about in-game ads, he draws a clear line. For free-to-play games, that kind of monetization makes sense. But for games where players have already paid full price, that's different. And the specific phrase that caught a lot of attention was when he referenced games you've paid $70 or $80 for. Now, let's keep this clean. That is not the same thing as a confirmation that GTA 6 costs $80. That would be overreaching. But it is absolutely fair to say that premium price language got brought into the conversation while discussing the expectations attached to premium games. And that matters.
Very difficult for me to believe that we would want to have interstitial advertising in a game that someone paid $70 or $80 for. It would seem unfair.
Now that's a strong clip because it immediately opens two conversations. One about where premium game pricing is going, and the second about what players expect from a premium priced experience. And honestly, the second part may matter even more. Because the deeper point in Strauss's answer is not just the number, it's the philosophy. If players pay premium money for a game, they do not want it to feel like some ad delivery system. They don't want to feel like they paid top dollar and still got treated like inventory. That makes total sense. A free-to-play game has a different relationship with monetization. People already understand that trade-off. But GTA 6, that is supposed to feel like a prestige release. A huge cinematic open-world event, a benchmark product, something polished, something immersive, something premium in every direction. And if that's what Rockstar wants this game to feel like, it cannot feel cheap. It cannot feel overloaded with obvious real-world monetization pressure. It cannot feel like it's cutting corners in the player experience while asking for premium money. Now, yes, Strauss does mention that some games like NBA 2K have limited advertising that fits naturally into the environment, and that distinction matters too, because GTA as a series has always used billboards, satire, fake brands, media parody, and all that stuff as part of its world building. That's different. A fake ad inside Vice City that helps sell the world, that's GTA. But a premium-priced game feeling like it's trying to squeeze value out of your attention in a way that breaks immersion, that's a completely different conversation. And the way Strauss talks about it makes it sound like Take-Two understands that difference, which honestly is reassuring. Because even if premium pricing makes people nervous, the same answer suggests they understand the expectation attached to a premium release. If you charge like Prestige, the game has to feel like Prestige. And then there's one more point that fits right into that same philosophy, the AI discussion. This didn't create as much fan drama as the trailer debate, but it still matters, because the basic message there is that a GTA 6 level hit is not something AI just spits out, and that feels right. A game like this is not just generated content, it's tone, writing, systems, direction, taste, world design, performance, human decision-making at a ridiculous scale. So when Strauss pushes back on the idea that AI can just make something like GTA 6, he's not only defending the creative side of development, he's also reinforcing the image of GTA 6 as a handcrafted premium entertainment, not disposable, not generic, not the product of shortcuts. A release like this is supposed to feel authored, and the more you listen to the way Take-Two talks about GTA 6, the more that image becomes clear. This is not being positioned as just another sequel, it's being positioned as a giant premium entertainment event. Which brings us to the most important part of the whole discussion. After all the theories, all the signals, and all the debate, what should fans actually believe right now? So, after all of this, the biggest thing to do is clean the conversation up. Because once you step back from the noise, you start seeing that not every point in the GTA 6 conversation carries the same weight. Some things look genuinely strong, some things are good faith interpretations, and some things are just being spoken about way too confidently for the evidence available. That distinction matters. So let's start with the strongest points. The strongest points right now are not the exact trailer dates, they're the broader signals. That GTA 6 is moving closer to a more active public phase, that Take-Two clearly sees this as a premium event, that Rockstar is likely being extremely deliberate about how the next wave begins, and that whenever the next real move happens, it's going to be tied to a much bigger strategy than just drop trailer and leave. Those points feel strong, because they don't depend on pretending we already know the exact roadmap. Now, where the fan base really splits is in how that roadmap is interpreted. One side believes the next major trailer probably comes before the full paid promotional push. That view sees the trailer as the spark, the beginning of the wave, the thing that gives the rest of the campaign something to build on. The other side believes the trailer is being saved for the heart of the summer rollout itself, possibly later than fans want, possibly closer to a more coordinated company moment. That side sees Rockstar as compressing the campaign more aggressively because GTA 6 simply doesn't need the same runway as a normal game. And both sides have logic. That's the part people need to remember. This is not one side being obviously smart and the other side being clueless. It's two different reads of Rockstar's strategy. And until Rockstar says something officially, that's all it is, a strategy read. Not proof, not confirmation, not a locked date. That's why one of the healthiest things to keep in mind with GTA 6 right now is this: confidence spreads faster than facts. And that's especially true when the game is this big. A prediction becomes a rumor becomes confirmed, a fake certainty gets repeated enough times that people start treating it like a missed promise if it doesn't happen. That cycle happens all the time. So the smartest place to land right now is somewhere in the middle. Not blind hype, not blind skepticism, just this: there is very real reason to believe GTA 6 is approaching a more serious public rollout. There is also very real reason to avoid acting like May, July, or August is already carved in stone. The strongest likely realities right now seem to be this: summer matters. Trailer 3 is likely connected to the next meaningful phase of next promotion. Pre-orders make the most sense alongside a major reveal, and Take-Two is clearly positioning GTA 6 as a premium entertainment product that's supposed to justify huge expectations. What still remains shaky? Any exact date being treated like a fact, any prediction being repeated like an announcement, and any theory that forgets Rockstar still holds the final card. Because at the end of the day, that's what this all comes down to. Not whether GTA 6 is going to take over the conversation again. That part is guaranteed. The real question is, when does Rockstar decide to pull the trigger? And whenever that moment comes, this entire community is going to explode. So now I want to hear from you. Do you think Trailer 3 shows up before the full summer marketing wave, or do you think Rockstar holds everything until later and drops it as part of one bigger coordinated push? Drop in the comments. And if you want more GTA 6 madness, make sure you're locked in here, because the second Rockstar makes a move, we're breaking all of it. Peace out.